told that devil to take you back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of the Black Badge, a Wynonna Earp fan podcast. I'm Kevin Bachelder.
And I'm Bonnie Ferrar. And this is our live from Acon, Canada podcast recording.
Thank you, everyone, and we appreciate you coming out what I think we'll call early on a Sunday morning after that amazing party last night. So give yourselves a pat on the back for being here.
That's right.
What we'd like to do, for those of you that have not come to one of our previous live podcasts or listened to any of our recordings, we purposely like to really have fun at these. So we make them very much in the moment and kind of what's going on here at the con. So as we pointed out a little before we started the recording, we'll have time for questions near the end. And hopefully we'll have a special guest joining us for a few minutes a little bit later into it. So it's very much part of the con. We want to make you be able to be a part of it.
That's right. So we're obviously at Acon, Canada, the first Wynonna Earp Canadian fan convention, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. There are fan conventions for just this show all over the world now, and we're just at the beginning of season 3. So I don't know if you if it's really sunk in yet as a fan, like how special that is. But I know for Kevin and I, this is an amazing experience to be able to be in a room full of 500 Earpers. And last night at the after party, one of my favorite memories, in fact, I periscoped it, was Andrea Higgins, spinning the tunes up there, bebopping around. Until That Devil came on, and the entire room singing Tell That Devil at the top of their lungs, and all of us being friends. And I don't know, you just realize we all are here because of this amazing show.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that way.
Mm-hmm.
By a show of hands, how many of you, this is your first convention you've ever been to? Wow. Most of you actually in the room.
That's a lot.
That is amazing. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And this is certainly a great way to start your convention going, coming to one like this with so many, good friends and all. So that's really something. Well done. You made a great choice. Now it's for us too, as Bonnie mentioned, getting a chance to interact with many of you. And we joked about it just before we started recording. I mean, we sit at home, doing the podcasts. There's no one there. It's just Bonnie and I over the internet. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming when we realize how big of an audience we have as far as listeners and the show has. So getting a chance to come out and do this live is such a great rush. I mean, because we're usually just like Bonnie said, she's got her kids. I might have the cat going in and out of the room. That's about the excitement that happens when we're sitting at home to do this. And many times when we record and we talk about topics, we go down the rabbit hole of different things and we bounce off each other, and then we'll kind of pause the recording and go, was that okay? Would that make sense once we release this?
That's usually me asking if I made sense. Yeah, it's pretty because you're in your house, and depending on the day, I could at one point, half of season 1, I did podcasts in my closet because it was the only place that was quiet, that the kids couldn't find me. And it was a double wall of, there were 2 doors that I could lock separating me from the children. So, in fact, I remember very, very clearly our first interview with Tim Rozon, and I was in my closet talking to him, which was pretty funny. And now, bouncing around the house doing things. And then you come to a convention like this, and then you go, oh my God, people actually listen. It's pretty cool. So thank you guys for being here and for, being a part of this amazing experience.
How many of you, by a show of hands, were at the cast panel yesterday?
Yeah,
not a surprise, all of you. One of the amazing things for me, having been very blessed to be able to attend several conventions where the cast has been, is that excitement of getting to see them live does not diminish over time, not in any way, shape, or form. That's something I kind of wondered. The more we do this, the more we get to see them. Does it kind of get fun, but maybe not quite as exciting? But every single time, the energy they all bring, especially when they're together on a panel, and with all the great questions that Bridget brought up, Wow, that's just something special. So for yourselves, realize that if you do get an opportunity to attend another convention where they might be, it's still going to be pretty damn exciting.
Mm-hmm. I'm Team Giant Duck, by the way. So yeah, the funny part is you can have a question. You can have a question like, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? And you can have a question like that in this fandom. And it doesn't just become a question that people go, okay. It becomes like an entire thing. Twitter has been all over the board with people, being like, no, it's 100 horses. Obviously, there'd be like little ponies, and people are like, no, I can make the giant duck my pet, and I could fly off like Khaleesi, and it's crime, but it's the fandom, right? Like we all have that same type of like unique like sense of humor. That obviously the cast shares too, and obviously Emily shares because she put a potato liquor in the season, and that became a really big thing for the entire fandom. But I love that. It's those kinds of things that end up kind of uniting us in a really funny way. We have cosplay as the potato, cosplay as Pink Sexy Fog. There's the potato. We had Pink Sexy Fog cosplay and Petra cosplay, and it's just really fun because I know for many of you share this sentiment that in today's world, it's really hard to get excited about much. And when you do get excited, there's always this balance, right? Of like, how excited can I get with these people before they start to go, okay, like that's a little too much, right? Like that's too over the top. You're too no chill. It's just a show, or it's just a song, or it's just a whatever. And there's always that like, and what I love about being in a room full of Earpers and at a convention full of Earpers is that you're allowed to be you. You're allowed to be as excited and as passionate as you want to be about a potato or about the fact that Team Giant Duck is actually the best team or whatever, you can be excited about anything. You can be passionate, and it's okay. And not only is it okay, but it's celebrated, and it's celebrated by everybody, even Team 100 Horses, and it's we all just kind of get each other. And when you're in an Earp convention like ACON, it's the entire time. Like you never feel like, okay, I need to tone it down, if I had a penny for every time I was told to kind of like bring it down in my life, I would be able to crowdfund many Earper conventions. So I'm really glad to be able to be no chill and have everybody who's obviously as no chill as I am, and sometimes even more, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, for us, especially being able to have you folks interact with us so much, we get so many emails and messages, things that never go on the podcast, because very honestly, folks are sharing them privately. They just want to get it out and share it with someone and talk about the impact this show has had or some of the podcasts we've been able to do. So it is such a blessing. It is very emotional at times. I mean, you folks who listen know I don't hesitate to share exactly how I'm feeling. And like Bonnie said, that's not exactly something I'd be comfortable doing in many places, especially publicly. But with this group of people and with all of you, we realize we're onto something very, very special here. So I know sometimes I get into my dad/granddad mode because I'm a little older than many of you. But yeah, in the moment, just stop and realize, even just sitting here right now, being at a convention like this, how many shows have conventions specific to them when they're still on the air and in multiple conventions in multiple countries? And that's all because of you folks, really. Mm-hmm. You all make it happen. So don't ever downplay how important that is, or be unwilling to share that with folks that you know and that you're passionate about. There's not many things we get in life that we really get to go that crazy for. Mm-hmm. I mean, your duck poll is up to over 2,800 votes at this point.
I know. Emily's skewing the votes a little bit with how hard she's pushing Team 100 Horses. I'm not going to lie. No, it's true. Like being passionate about things, it's something that I think we all feel, I mean, obviously there's a t-shirt company, Fangirl Shirts, that basically was founded on that idea of being a fangirl being a good thing, not being like, oh, you're like, being a fan of something is showing as being negative, and I love that. I love that we're able to take the things about ourselves that we like. Because let's face it, if you're passionate about something, if you like something, it's because you like it and you like that part of you. And to take that and have to hide that or have to dim it, there was a lot of times, there's a quote, and I don't remember the name of it completely, but talk about like never dim your light for other people because it's too bright for them. And I didn't really understand that throughout my life. Like I always tried to kind of dim myself as like, I'm too much, I'm too this, I'm too that, be more like this, be more like that. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that in some form or fashion, that need to fit, even when you don't really want to fit, and I never really understood that the better way to do it would be to shine as bright as you fucking can and find the people who shine just as bright. And those are your tribe. Those are the people who are like, oh my God, I love you. Let's go, let's shine together. Or let me give you a microphone. That's the people you want to be with. And this entire convention is a testament to that, to finding your tribe and to celebrating that.
Absolutely. How many of you have heard the story of how Bonnie and I came together as podcasters? A few of you.
Oh, we got some fresh meat. All right.
I mention it only because it's very much for me an example of bouncing off what Bonnie just brought up there. I mean, we had come across each other because we were both, and still are, Lost Girl fans. But just, yeah. And we barely knew each other on Twitter, just happened to be following each other. But Bonnie did some wonderful videos, which I highly recommend you check out on YouTube. And that's how I kind of got more aware of her. So when we were both at Dragon Con the year before Wynonna Earp started, we were independently in line to get photo ops with the cast of Lost Girl. We just happened to end up next to each other. So it was like, oh, it's Bonnie, it's Kevin, how are you? I mean, maybe what, a 5-minute interaction?
5 minutes, and I was dressed as Bo from Lost Girl.
Yep, you were cosplaying, you look great as Bo. But it was just a casual encounter, just a nice smile with someone online. So 6, 7, 8 months later, when we're both starting to ramp up our love for Wynonna Earp, even before it aired, she had started the fan account, and I just reached out to say, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. I had no idea who was behind this account. They could have been an adult, a child, man, woman. I had no idea. Both. It was just a fan account. So, but I mean, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. Maybe you might want to come on at some point and talk about what you're doing. So that chance encounter has led to all of this. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things in life when we say, be willing to take a chance and to be yourself. Because I mean, it could have come back, like I said, a 12-year-old person out somewhere that wouldn't have worked quite as well. So.
But I can go even deeper than that because I came into fandom really late. I came into Lost Girl really late. In fact, I can give you an example. I binge watched Lost Girl in May of 2015, and it was halfway through its 5th season, so it was almost over. And I pretty much got onto Twitter like, "Hey guys," and everybody's like, "Party's over. Thanks for coming," But in true me fashion, I go big or go home, right? So I pretty much was like, oh, but I really love this show. And I had literally, and I'm not even lying, I had 30 followers on Twitter because I had just opened up Twitter. I didn't even know how to work it. And I said, well, I'm going to write a song, because why not? That's what you do. And I wrote a song and I did a video, and I was terrified to put it on the internet, terrified, because Twitter's not a kind place and YouTube is even less kind. And I just was kind of like, am I opening myself up for this, like, oh my God, you can't sing. This is stupid. Who would do this, But I took a chance, and it was a scary chance. But I did. I took it. I posted it, and I posted it on Twitter. And that song led to me meeting a lot of my best friends, and led to me meeting Kevin, because then I went to Dragon Con by myself. First convention I had ever gone to. I didn't even know what a convention was. and I cosplayed as Bo, met the whole cast, and they were like, "We saw your song," and I'm like, "Oh my God, really? Okay, thank you, Anna Silk." And it was really surreal, but that was kind of my I just jumped in, and I've never been happier because I met him. And I met a lot of you guys through that, and I met all of you through that, really, because it's been a journey and a road from there. I'm following Emily, and then he told me I had signed up for. Well, I had started this fan account called Wynonna Fans, and when he DM'd me, he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to reach out." I said, "Oh, Kevin, it's Bonnie, psst." And he said, and he's like as in like Lost Girl Bo Bonnie, like I'm like, yeah, guilty. And he goes, "Put your name on the account," and I said, "Nope." And he goes, "No, put your name on the account. Like people will connect better with you that way." And I said, "But what if they hate me?" And he said, "Just be you. Put your name on the account and be who you are, and you'll be fine." And having someone like him always championing me and uplifting me and basically encouraging me to be me, but be me bigger. Here's a microphone. Come on a podcast. Here's this. Here's it's amazing. So find your Kevin in the world, please.
And as you folks know from listening, that goes both ways, because her energy and passion for things has been a big motivation for me and for many of us, let's face it. I don't think we're here in season 2 and beyond without the passion Bonnie showed very much there at the end of that first season with everything she did on Twitter. So. All right, well, before I start crying, let's talk, switch subject a little and talk about the season so far. It's rare when we get to do a live podcast where we're actually in season. Yeah. So we're 4 episodes in, third of the way through the season, and we all know it's been quite the emotional ride for a couple of the episodes, but it's also been fun seeing many of you, and this is where I want to really just encourage it again, sharing theories, because we got so many things dangling, and what does this all mean? In every episode, we get new stuff. With Mama Earp and Nedley now and Jolene making the appearance and everything else. So it is so much fun when we get to, Bonnie and I record, seeing the things that you folks are talking about, and then we get to bounce off it. So I hope you keep bringing those up. It's fueling a lot of what we get to talk about.
Yeah, one of the best theories that has come to us, and I can't remember who it was because it was so fast. Like sometimes things come at us real fast and I don't get to log who it is down. So if it's you, come find me because you're brilliant. Said that they thought that possibly Peacemaker, that Wyatt's spirit, his soul was trapped inside of Peacemaker. And that's his curse, to be forced to live out his killing everybody again and again and again, people he meant to, the people he didn't mean to, and that's his curse, because everybody was cursed in this curse. I said a curse a lot. But and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, God, that really makes sense to me, because I started to think about how the etchings, right, on the seal that's sealed in Bulshar and the ring, right? Well, those same etchings are in the inside of Peacemaker. So I love the fact that we get these kinds of theories not from us, but from you guys. So keep them coming. You want to introduce someone?
Yeah, we have our special guest
joining
us. Varun Saranga.
Varun Saranga.
Hey,
hi,
brought my
Varun.
entourage with me. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, this is great. Okay, so this is your first Earp, Canadian Earp convention, because it's all of our first, so it's pretty easy, right? What do you think so far?
I don't know. Is it always like this? It's so chill. I feel like I feel like I can relax and talk to people and get to know them, which is my favorite part of being alive, really, is just to get to know people. And it's the Earpers here are amazing. I was so used to Comic-Con, where you're just in a daze and they're shuffling you between press and variety, and then you're signing, and then variety again, and you're signing. And so this It's like super chill, super relaxing, and I don't know, I really love it.
Well, we're going to bring the hard-hitting questions, so that's over.
No.
So I know when we had you on our podcast last season, when we initially connected, we do it normally via audio, as you folks know, for the podcast form, but we had set it up quickly as a Skype call. And the thing that Bonnie and I mentioned, which was very interesting with you, is even though folks couldn't see it because we were audio, you were animated. And as you were talking about things, you were moving away from the mic and then into the mic and had your hands going. And it was just the energy you brought.
I have a
was great.
lot of energy. I think it's because I'm the youngest child and I just wanted attention all the time growing up. So the only way to do that was to flail my limbs around. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's what gets me roles too.
Now, do you find it hard, though, sometimes in the role? For example, Jeremy, sometimes you've got to be you're scientific, you're very matter of the fact. You don't seem to have a lot of physicality sometimes.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I do think about my physicality, especially when I'm Jeremy, because I think I'm more aware of it now. I think when you are more still, there's more power there. And when you are animated, there's a lightness and goofiness attached to it. So even when I'm playing Jeremy now, as he's kind of growing up and becoming older, there's far more moments where he's rooted into the ground and he's talking and challenging other people, as opposed to like hiding and using his body language to withdraw almost or feel smaller than. I mean, kind of an example is like when Wynonna and him are facing off or not facing off, but like they're not agreeing with each other about how Dolls' death should have been handled. And it was like a moment of like, well, Jeremy could hide. He could be that guy who tries to make it a joke and dismiss it, or he could stand up for himself because he knows he's not wrong. Mm-hmm. And so that was like a good moment of discovering Jeremy's different kind of physicality.
Do you think that that's largely maybe because of the acceptance and the support you found within that team that you were able to articulate at the end of season 2 when you said, you guys just allow me to be me? Mm-hmm. And so in feeling that support, you're sort of able to feel more confident in, actually challenging Wynonna or sticking your ground and being like, no, I'm not wrong about this. Whereas when you don't have that support, it's really hard to not want to hide sometimes, even if you know you're right.
No, that's such a good point. I think we all probably find it when we're in a new environment, like a work environment, perhaps. It's like you want to fit in with your coworkers. You want to seem agreeable. You want them to like you. And once you have all that, you're like, oh, now I have to be myself. Like, what does that mean? And I think that's where Jeremy's at. He's like, now I can be myself, or I have room to grow into myself. Mm-hmm. And so there is definitely that element of like he's relaxed about always trying to prove himself, always trying to hit on Doc, but he's now figuring out who he is. Yeah.
Now, when we had the opportunity to go to set, we got to meet you. You were hanging out there one day, but you mentioned you weren't actually shooting. You were just hanging out on the set. Is that something you found as a way to help you integrate as a new guy, kind of?
Yeah, I really enjoy watching how this show works. I think all of you would love to just hang out on set for a day. It's crazy. Like Wynonna took off the head of that Revenant. And it's so gross when you can actually look at it. And just like all the gun stuff is really interesting and cool. And I was there that day with the Revenant battle. I just came to set that one day to watch it happen because they like made it like a Mad Max kind of Thunderdome-esque set. And everyone was running around and fighting, and Danny and Megan were like choking Bobo, and like all these kind of really interesting things were going on. And it's like, oh, I started to become a fan of the world. Like I'm a genuine fan of the show now. And I don't really get that very often with like what I'm on. Like I enjoy the work I do, but I'm not like into the lore or like, what are the subtle things. So every time I read a script now, I'm like super excited to dissect it and figure out where it is. I think in large part that's because of Tim. Yeah, that's like all we talk about is the show. We always just have our theories and it's super fun. And we always try to like pitch them to Emily. And she's always like, shut up. Okay, I'm the writer. But I don't know. Yeah, I really love the show and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I think we all know that the biggest Earper in the entire place is Tim.
Yeah, none of you. I'm sorry, none of you have anything on Tim. It's not a contest. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was for us talking about the set visit when we first got there and hadn't seen any of the cast yet. We were standing outside what was the set for Nicole's house, and he came out in costume, literally out the back door towards us. And I think the three of us, Bonnie and Bridget and I think our knees might have buckled like, it's Tim, with the Calgary in the background. He's so just instinctually. It's something to have something.
Well,
like
I don't think I said it's Tim. I was like, it's Doc Holliday.
You were more excited about the car, weren't you?
The truck. Yeah, the truck. That's before I saw Doc Holliday, though. Come on. It was the first thing I saw. I punched Kevin. We all know the story. But then it got better and better and better because then I just got to see like the set and as it unfolded. And then, yeah, when Tim walked out in full Doc Holliday attire, because and like not current Doc Holliday, because we were going back, we were going kind of back a little bit. So he was in his actual Doc Holliday attire, and then you get the sweeping Calgary views, and it was just kind of like, I think he leaned over and was like, pinch me. I'm like, nope. I've already hit you. We're good.
Now, we've also talked about how last season you were, quote, new guy on the block, joining something. And now this year with Chantel and other folks, they're coming in. Do you do anything special to kind of help them?
Yeah, now I haze them. No, we're like, honestly, we're just like a group of really loving people. Like when Chantel came in, who has like the most wonderful energy ever, like very similar to Tamara, actually, just like so joyful and energetic. And so it's just like she fit right in. She slipped right in. And the thing about her character is very different than mine in that we don't know if she's good or bad. Like we don't know where her allegiances lie. What is her true motivation? So it's always a bit of a, I don't know. We're playing a guessing game with Chantel's character. Like, is she in the group? Is she not? Does she want Doc? Does she not? I don't know.
Tell us more.
I'm always like, I'm so afraid of spoiling things. Last time we did the podcast, they like edited out things I said, and now I'm here and I know I'm gonna spoil something. Oh God, no.
Yeah, it'll just stay in this room. Oh, and on the internet too. But that's
All right, so you've been here for a couple days now, getting to meet the Earpers and stuff like that. What is there been a moment that was the funniest to you, where you just thought, oh my God, this fandom, like, is anything just kind of stuck out? I mean,
oh man, the pictures, like the group photos, became really fun. The props people would bring. Oh my God, there was one with the bubbles. Yeah, like they had a bunch of. Oh yeah, there you go. Shout out to the bubbles. My favorite part is Tim just specifically aimed it at Emily the whole time. And she just kept wondering why she was getting so wet, like the only person. And he's just laughing in the background. And it's just like, oh, we get to like have so much fun with each other and the fans. And like those kind of tiny moments really stand out to me. It's like where we're all the same, like we're all goofing around and I really don't believe anyone's any more special than the next person. So it's like, it's good to break down the barrier of like, I'm here, you're here. It's like, no, we're all the same. Let's just goof off together and enjoy it. Yeah. Blow bubbles.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love bubbles?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't love bubbles, get out. No.
Yeah, it's great. For myself, several of you came up to me early in the con and were just so excited to talk about the plan for the photo shoots and what they were going to do, because they had this elaborate plan of what was going to go on, and they were already choreographing. Well, I'm going to see if Tim can go here and Varun's here, and then Melanie's. And I'm like, okay. So yes, they own it. That's passion is what's so much fun.
Yeah, and I think what the most interesting thing about these cons is all the Earpers interacting with each other, like people becoming friends with each other, because it's such a, I don't know, it's a beautiful thing when you meet a new friend, because it's special, and the fact that it can happen over the show and here in this kind of place is a treat. I think it's more valuable than money or any other kind of crap. And so I don't know, this is a good vibe. I really like these cons.
Yeah, I think Emily has described the whole show and the cast, the crew, the fandom, everything that we've done, everything that everybody's been a part of as like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
And that's really how it feels, you know, especially when you're in an Earp specific convention. I mean, that doesn't usually happen for shows, and there's multiple around the world.
Yeah.
So that's pretty intense. But yeah, this like idea of like capturing lightning in a bottle all together is pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
Now, do you, I know many of the actors have mentioned how you create a bit of your own backstory, even if you don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Have you started to do more of that with Jeremy?
Yeah, like his family. I can't spoil anything.
No.
No. Well, I mean, you're getting hints of it now, right? Like you're getting little whiffs of it from Emily. But yeah, Jeremy has a very, very interesting background.
Well, let's spin it so you don't have to worry to the point of, did you start to create one and then as you're learning
I did
it?
start to create one, actually, yeah. But even then, I don't know if it's right or wrong, so I don't want to say it either.
No.
But like, I think Jeremy has survived some intense trauma that has resulted in whatever groin action, and so it's whatever. Like, I was exploring what that trauma could be, and like what makes him such a joyful person, even though he's experienced such trauma in his life. Like, why is he trying to do good even though such pain has been given to him? Like, that's kind of the interesting thing I like to explore, because like I love the fact that like people can push past pain and still be good people, because often it kind of tears you up. Like if you look at Doc, like the fear of hell is like ruining him. You know, he's not like positive like Dolls was. Like it doesn't matter, kind of thing.
Well, it's the trauma, it seems like, on the show that unites the group, because every single one of you guys, the characters, not the cast.
I don't have growing powers in real life.
No, so like every single one of the characters has gone through something traumatic, has had some type of painful past experience that they have to overcome, and it's the choices that you make to get through that pain. To where do you go from there? How do you handle the pain? How do you handle the trauma that really makes you who you are?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we love about the show is the fact that you guys, as actors, really bring the humanity to this sci-fi, you know, revenant killing goo, you know, show, and make it relatable for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's. Thank you for saying that, but I feel like it's Melanie's ability to like embody such a complex character, and we all revolve around that. And it's like, it's all made us better actors and more interesting characters and like all these kind of things. And so it's been like a very, very fun process, kind of acting with everyone and understanding our characters more through other people. Yeah.
Now, we know how much Calgary is very much a part of the show, but also creates quite the challenge from a shooting point of view, especially temperature-wise and everything.
Yeah.
Do you have any fun stories to talk about from the most recent season as far as putting up with that?
That scene in episode 4, like when me and Robin are in the woods, it was so cold. Calgary is so cold. But the thing is, if you like start to complain, everybody starts to complain. So you don't want to be that guy. But all I want to do is complain about everything. Like I feel like the world owes me everything at every moment. So I'm like, it's cold right now. Jesus Christ. But like it's weird acting in the cold because your nose just like stuffs up and it's like it's always dripping, and then you're so aware of it when you're on screen like trying to do a serious scene. You're like, this is a drip. And you just know that they're not going to use that take, and I'm like cursing Calgary every moment of that. But it's also part of the character, which I like. It's part of the charm. Like how many shows embrace being in winter? That like never happens. Yeah.
We were there in sunny March, and I was freezing my butt off.
I wish I was there that first season when it was summer. Yeah. That must have been really nice.
It's cold. And then they have to give you guys scenes. Like the first season, they gave Waverly scenes in her short shorts.
Oh my God.
And then in this most recent scene, there's a scene where Tim's running through with bare feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
But you know what's messed up about Tim? He like gets off on it. He's like so ready. You should see him pumping up before those scenes. He's like, "Ugh!" He's like making beast noises. This guy is on something else. I'm complaining about it the whole time. But like also shout outs to the girls because Mel and Dom had to be in dresses in episode 2. And it was one of the coldest days in recorded history in Calgary. And so it was like very, very, very hard for them when they're like barely wearing any clothes and have to like emote that Dolls is dying. You know, it's like a challenge, but it also adds to it in a funny way.
Yeah, I thought about that because we've been there, and I'm very aware that I came at a pretty decent month. There was not snow on the ground, so I'm like, yeah. Every time I can't help it. Every episode when I see stuff, I'm like, oh my God, they must be so cold. And the one where Melanie's on the cliff, and you know she's dislocated her shoulder, and she looks miserable. And my first thought is like, wow, she's such a great actress. And then I'm like, and she's also probably really cold. So some of that misery is probably really real, you know, where you're like, oh, let's just get this done. Yeah.
Now, have you had any trouble with any lines this season as far as technobabble or scientific stuff that you've really had to get past?
It's so funny. I mean, maybe one day you'll notice it, but I'll just expose my own technique about that stuff. It's like, I rehearse it to a rhythm. Like I just do the same delivery for any techno stuff over and over again. Otherwise, I'll just forget it completely. And so there's like probably a blooper reel of me always flubbing it up because I like miss my rhythm. I'm like, sorry, I have to redo it again. And then I'll go back and do it again and again. And I was doing it with Dom in one of the scenes, and she was just like, bloody hell, just say the line. Like, who cares? But it's like so technical that it's like you have to pretend you know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the DNA of a werewolf strand mixed with a vampire attacking a lichen. I don't like, what are these words? These are words, they're made up gibberish. And so it's like I have to like give it some authenticity in this world, because then it gives weight to what we're talking about. But yeah, I just like basically do the same rhythm over and over again until I get it right.
No, that's a good plan.
Yeah. And for some reason, when you talk fast, you sound smart. I just try to do it really fast.
Well, we really appreciate you stopping by, Varun. We know you have a bunch of stuff to do, so thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you, guys.
See you later on.
What a treat. Oh, I love hearing from him.
Yeah.
Bye, Jeremy. It's so hard. I try really hard to like not, when I'm talking about their characters versus the cast members, are constantly like in my head like checking twice, and I'm like, no, it's when Nicole did that, not Kat. When Jeremy did that. So,
yeah, I do that myself, along with having my phone here just to check time a little bit. When I'm doing the interviews, I'm much like Bonnie in that way, in that I have up, our questions. Oftentimes we ask you folks for feedback, but right there at the front of the doc, I will have Varun as Jeremy or whoever it is, because if we get going, I'm afraid I'm going to do the same thing because it's just so natural.
It is. Yeah, I've done it a couple of times and had to correct myself.
Well, we wanted to leave some time for questions here, folks, so we've got several minutes left. If there's any podcast topics or show topics or things you kind of want to throw out, we have mics up here at the front. If you could come up just so it gets picked up for the live stream and the podcast, that'd be wonderful.
So theories, anything. Nothing. We already covered the whole like is purgatory a pyramid or is it just a triangle? Like, can you take a hot air balloon out of it? That was covered in our last one.
Yeah.
So new questions.
Yeah, the prism concept. Yes, we went there.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
So, you folks want to hear some theories. So, I don't know if you're Battlestar Galactica fans. Yeah, a few out there. So, spoiler alert. At the end, one of the main characters turns out to be the harbinger of death.
Oh.
So in the process of Waverly is an angel, maybe not an angel. Maybe it's actually more along the lines of she's the harbinger of something. So, because it's the same terminology, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So thoughts? Anybody?
Okay. That's a big one. Is Waverly the harbinger of, somebody said on Twitter, maybe healing? Is that a harbinger of healing, or an angel of healing, or something along those lines? Someone said maybe she's like a phoenix, some type of thing like that, which would be kind of cool if you think about the fact that they found her in the barn covered in ashes after the barn burned down. But
Yeah, I mean, we know that folks love to go down that rabbit hole of being an angel. And
she's been all in white.
yeah, when those photos came out for episode 4 and she was again in white, I mean, Twitter blew up with that. So, but we also know Emily. She just sits there, I envision cackling with, oh, look where they went again. You know, they get ready to pull the rug out from under them. So I got to tell you, for me, I'm trying not to do that because I keep getting more evidence that it's either the angel or it's the not harbinger. What's the other word? But she's like a.
I don't know. This is all your forte.
Well, I mean, but it is a term of meaning it's her job to bring that to purgatory. The idea of the good. She's the good. You know, if you want to get into chaotic good and all these, you know,
Well, she's Waverly. Yeah, she's the good. You know.
That's we got to unpack that one a lot. Kind of like I'm wondering, and obviously it's going to depend on what we get the next 8 episodes. But much like we did on the podcast when we went into our peacemaker theories in the off season, I'm sensing that if we don't get true answers there, folks are going to want to talk about that one big time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of those things where we have fun with the theories, and there's a lot of them. But like you said, I'm very acutely aware that if she's an angel, Emily's, it's never just what you think. You know what I mean? So obviously she couldn't just do vampires. She had to do Euro trash vampires with like a stripper bus and sexy pink fog. So, you know, that's part of the fun for us is thinking of all the theories, but knowing darn well we're probably wrong about 99% of them. So, yeah.
Take this off so short. Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering if like you had any theories about the well, because to me, like things just don't line up about it, and I felt like there might be something supernatural around it.
Okay.
Well, and I don't remember exactly when it was, and I hate to say I'm quoting her, but because of all the folks wondering, hey, how come Doc didn't see, you know, all this other stuff that's going on down there? I believe at some point, and you folks who might know more can correct me, that Emily said that it was like a magical well. There were lots of tributaries and hallway type, you know, went in a lot of directions, and in between the lines, it's kind of like saying, just go with it, folks. That it's probably not something, and this to me is a little bit like some folks who've been wondering when we see the outside shots of the homestead, single level, but then inside we see stairs. And again, I just think that's one of those.
About that.
So I'm the one getting the tweets asking me why that's the case. I don't give it to you. But no, I respect the folks who want to know. We want it. This world is so real to us. We're trying to make sure it all fits. But I think that part of the homestead is a little like the well. We just have to kind of go, there's something there to it. So I don't have a good theory on what else is there, though. I suspect at some point, because at the end of last season, we saw Bobo down there. Mm-hmm. So are we going to find out that there's a magical, you know, little corridor he got to go down and he found a way out? I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see what that is too.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this question is from Twitter user Cat Zim. I'm kidding. So Randy Nedley, Greg Lawson, who we love dearly. I feel like in episode 4, there was sort of a suggestion that maybe he has a thing for Michelle.
I picked up on that too.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if maybe you could discuss maybe some theories about how maybe Randy and Michelle know each other, and maybe parentage of Waverly related to that. So
I know. I turned to him and I didn't actually cover podcast, did I? I don't think so. I think it was sitting here on Friday night with all of you guys. And I kind of watched that scene again, and new things come to you when you do rewatches. So make sure you do your rewatches. I think I turned to him and I go, what if Nedley's Waverly's dad? And he was like, stop, I can't anymore. But I mean, it definitely seemed like when he was talking about, because he definitely paused and he said, loved her, and nothing is by chance on this show. They don't accidentally write anything. So that was kind of important. And whether he just had, a crush on her, whether, it was mutual, obviously he's been some sort of protector since then, trying to not only alleviate the guilt he felt for, having to put her away, but also because I think he genuinely cared for her. And I think Nedley's genuinely a good guy. I really do. I think he, like everybody on this show, he's a complex character. Not one person on this show has been all good or all perfect. Even Waverly, they've made mistakes, and that's what I like about it, because you can't point to anybody, even Wynonna, and say she has it all right. She's the good guy 100% of the time. There's been some very some choices that even Wynonna's made. So I like the fact that no one is completely good, and no one's, not many are completely bad. They've all, even Bobo, has a complex history. I think that's what makes us really cherish not only the heroes of the show, but also the villains,
Yeah, and I think what I think is really cool about this topic, and of course, Kat's going to bring it up and want us to talk about it, is that, think back to season 1, Nedley. We couldn't, a lot of us couldn't wait to say, I just hope a Revenant gets him or something, because he didn't look like he was supporting Wynonna at all. So, as Bonnie said, it's wonderful to see these characters growing. So it makes a lot of sense now that we see him, and that scene certainly leads credence to something there, potentially, whether it's full-on parentage. I can jump to there, but I'm hoping we're going to see a little more to see if there's something going on. But what I also love too, when it was a very very important, and it was very emotional as he was giving Waverly the backstory of what this was, we still got to have the fun of him talking about how he was going to protect and watch out for Waverly, and he tried to do it with Wynonna. It's like, okay, that didn't quite work out as well. So it's not all good, but I think there's a chance there's a lot more backstory there that we're going to have to get.
Are you?
Guys. So my question is, so in the season 3 trailer, we saw that Bobo is still in the well. Well, we're 4 episodes in and we haven't seen Bobo. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts are, as where Bobo's at. Is he even still in the well? We don't know. So what are your thoughts?
For me, I'm now that we're seeing a little bit of Bachelder and just how bad he is, and it looks like Doc's going to make a bad choice, I'm wondering if before the end of the season, there's going to be a collaboration between Bobo and the team.
Ooh, good one.
He's, they feel at least some comfort level with who he is. And again, Bachelder is the bigger bad. So enemy of my enemy kind of thing. Because I don't see Bobo as being the bow down to Bachelder kind of guy.
Nope.
So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be a reason where you're going to see Doc pull back the cover and go, okay, you're coming out, and but on this condition. So
yeah,
it's just run through my head that way.
I like it. Let's do it.
So after episode 4, my question is more along the lines of Mama Earp went away for burning down the barn and possibly trying to kill Waverly. But what if it wasn't her? What if it was actually the demon Jolene that she was seeing all the time, and if she tried to kill her that time then, like she's trying to kill her now? So what do you think about that?
We talked on the podcast about Jolene a little bit, and I went a different way with Jolene. I said that I think maybe Jolene's a good guy, and I know that sounds weird, but because but also because she looks a little bit like she's batshit crazy. So, your first instinct is to be like, I don't trust her. She just showed up after after this whole creepy ring chick showed up behind, Waverly. But, so I'm kind of like, what if she's like JC? What if she's kind of a protector and she's part of helping? I mean, she did say, what would we do without you, Jolene? And she's like, you'd all die, but we think that's menacing. But what if she meant it like, well, you'd be dead because I've been sitting here for the last 30 years, making sure, trying to help out when I could. So that's one possibility, but also, yeah, it's a huge possibility that she's not, and that she's bad. I mean, we did see in one promo her choking Nicole, right? Not Kat Burrell, Nicole. And we saw her choking Nicole. So, but sometimes I get, again, because it's Emily and Allison and it's the show that it is, when they put those promos together, do they put them together to give us like red herrings to set us on a different path about a character, and when it's really not that? Or are we actually seeing a glimpse into the storyline? So I'm really excited to see Zoe Palmer back on my screen. Who else is with me? Good or bad. I'm glad she's on the show, and I'm excited to see. I'm a little concerned why she keeps wanting to feed him treats, but
well, and for me too, when I'm picking up from 4, a lot of Mama's crazy talk was referring to she is coming. She doesn't like this. Okay, who is the she going to be? So.
Oh my God, Kevin, if you're a bad guy, I'm gonna die.
This is why we talk these things out. Okay. Well. Oh, you said that it might be Kevin is the she's referring to.
Anna Silk.
And AKA Anna Silk.
Oh my God.
Oh wow, yeah. Because at first
that would be what she would do. She would be like, "Oh, you can want a Lost Girl crossover? I got a Lost Girl crossover for you. Hold on."
Yeah, because in 4, hearing Mama say she, and then we see Jolene, you might instantly jump to that's who she's referring to. But like you said, whether it's Kevin or some other she coming.
But then Jolene says there's a demon coming. So Jolene's even warning them, you have to keep your strength up. A demon's coming, and she wants to kill Waverly. So
George?
Oh, could be. All right, so we got this side. Yeah.
Hi. There's been a lot of talk online about the difference in Peacemaker glowing yellow and versus blue, the 2 times it did blue, and I'm wondering what your theory is, if you have any, on why it glowed blue when Wynonna shot Willa and when Waverly grazed Rosita.
So my theory, I'm still sticking with it, is that the gun is like inside out, where blue is sadness and yellow is joy. And so when Peacemaker has to put down someone that Peacemaker doesn't want to put down, because I still think it's Wyatt, he doesn't want to put down his heir, Willa, but he knows he has to. He doesn't want to put down Rosita because he wasn't supposed to kill Rosita in the first place.
But when Wynonna pointed at Rosita across the bar, it was yellow. It glowed the gold.
That's
not the
true.
blue.
And maybe that's, and does it feed off of whoever's shooting its feelings? Is it the gun's feelings? If it is in fact sentient, or is it the person who's shooting its feelings and not wanting? So maybe Waverly at the moment, I don't believe Waverly's like a cold-blooded killer, and she probably didn't want to kill Rosita. So was it kind of mirroring her own, the shooter's feelings, or does it have its own feelings? And I think that's my thought. But
yeah, and that's. Yeah, it did a little zip, and we also had that time when it woke Wynonna up in the flashback episode too. So yeah, we've been toying around, and we got some great feedback from all of you on our Peacemaker-centric
that's great
podcast for that reason. But yeah, we've been saying probably sentient, and yeah, I'm on board with like Bonnie saying, when she had to shoot Willa, it was reading Wynonna's emotion of, I don't want to do this. sadness. And the same to a degree with Waverly, because she had bonded pretty well with Rosita. So it's the same kind of thing. Or the other theory too relates to if Peacemaker does have Wyatt's or someone's soul in it. Again, it's just, I don't want to do this. That's its way of revolting. It just happens to do it in blue.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get a lot more on that too.
I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you very much for doing what you do, because I'm in the arts. Broadcast arts are a dying breed. Being Canadian, I never thought I'd be at a convention for anything because I'm older and never. So it helps bring, I think, the fandom together. It helps bring these actors so that we know them. They're not just imaginary big people. So that was my comment. Thank you very much for doing it. We do listen, and it helps us. Now, somebody else had a question. Is Waverly the daughter of Bullshit?
I don't want her to be. So no.
I hadn't gone there, and I don't want to go there, but I think that would make for some pretty juicy storytelling. So, ouch.
You know, her code name was Angel Pants. I mean, like, she can't be Bullshar's daughter. No. Right. Bullshar was like in a whatever thing he was, you know, like the crypt or whatever, the seal of a, you know.
Oh, something about.
All of a sudden, I don't like that either.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of Bobo doing
Can
that.
we just leave Whaley out of it? All right. Let's just go, you know, maybe she can go visit Alice for a nice long extended vacation. No, we can't protect her as fans any more than we want anyone else to protect her. She's a big girl, right? And she has a very important role to play in this. Yeah. She's the heart, I think.
And thank you very much for the comments about the podcast. We love doing it. I mean, that was the whole thing. And me starting it was, this seems like it's going to be a show that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. And there's going to be other people who will want to as well. So yes, being able to create a community for all of us and a point to be able to bring the actors to all of you, that had no idea that was going to happen. It's just been an amazing thing, an amazing ride to come on. But also it's a reminder for all of you, whether it's Wynonna Earp or another passion you have, find a way to share it. Podcasting, blogging, artwork, whatever. That's been making our fandom so rich. And the way we're able to make it run 12 months out of the year is because we've all got all of us doing different things that keep us entertained when the show's not on the air. So, you know, feel free to jump in and just do what you enjoy. And a lot of us are going to get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much. And, you know, honestly, being able to bring the cast to you guys is a testament to the cast. What other cast comes on a fan-run podcast the first season? Just because I said, please. And yeah, and they were like, I'm all in. And they have been since day one. So that's a testament to the show and the cast and the kind of people that Emily's assembled. And to all of you, thanks for listening.
Yeah, and we appreciate you all coming out this morning.
That's right.
And we hope you enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you very much.
I'm going to send that to my kids and they'll think I'm really cool.
You are really cool.
Oh, thank you.